right, sir. I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna pop over to Facebook.
All right. Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host. As always, you can catch me each and every day, Monday through Friday, from 5 to 6 p.m. or whenever I am available. You know what we do here? We talk business, legal, social, whatever affects you in this community, we will talk about it. Good evening, but you know we mostly talk politics because politics is everything and everything is politics. I had a little problem earlier trying to get on, but I managed to get on, and I am about 15 minutes late. Good evening, hey, welcome in, welcome in. We all should be set here, and let's do what we do, ladies and gentlemen. You know, if you want to talk to me always, you can call 901 901 I want to let that, before we get started, I want to definitely thank all of you who have been calling me and telling me the things that are going on in this election, realizing that some of the candidates uh, not being fair. You know, politics is everything, and everything is politics. And you know, I always say you have crooked politicians as crooked as the dog hind leg, as they used to say. So you don't be surprised of what you see, what you hear. And a lot of people are telling me they are tearing down their sign. Because evidently, when they tear down your sign, they are afraid of the fact that you just might beat them. Well, for you, if you didn't know, that's a $10,000 fine if you get caught uh, destroying another candidate's signs. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And it may be a little jail time should go along with it. But I remember they used to send out the information and telling you that if you didn't pick up your signs, if they were in the roadway or on the expressway, you could be fined. And I'm looking at a lot of these signs out here in the wrong place and where they shouldn't be. But hey, people are not paying attention. It just goes to show you we create different laws or different things here, and some we keep up with and some we don't. And I've seen them. If you've seen them, hey, let me know as well. Uh, but I got some disturbing information, and I'm just laying back to see exactly what's going to happen. So don't be surprised when you are surprised because a lot of these candidates and these elected officials, sometimes when I tell you this, and if you're broke, if you're looking for a job, you need to go get your job. Don't turn around here trying to get elected and make that your job because you're running for office and you're starving. You may be tempted to do what this forensic audit has said: misappropriation, misuse of funds, mishandling of funds, or however you want to put it. But you need to know that if you're broke, you may do things that's unethical as it relates to being in office. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if something happens because we don't have leaders, as I often say in the community. We just got people who looking for a job, people to see how much they can get away with, and you still starving in this community. Being a leader requires a lot of things. It requires you to be upfront, honest. so that people can have respect for you and be proud that they put you in the office. And the problem is, and this is what's going to get you, when you find out people have been misusing funds, whether it's the previous administration or the administration that you have now or the previous, go back 2 or 3 administration. And certainly we know under Jarvis Ray there was a lot of hanky-panky going on in the courtroom as well as other rooms, if you know what I mean. But we got to get to the point we get past this. And if people want to run, they ought to be able to be honest. There should be no backdoor dealing, should be no backdoor wheeling and dealing. And people giving you money, they own you. You have been bought and paid for when they give you money and they expect you to do something. Now, keep in mind, in this next sheriff, whoever is elected, and I tell you, I'm getting information about Anthony Buckner, and we're just holding to see if they're going to come out and talk about that situation. Matter of fact, Anthony Buckner hadn't showed up to debate in the last 2 debates they had. Didn't show up over at Mississippi Boulevard last night. They get up and say that Anthony Buckner had an emergency to come out. I think Anthony Buckner realized that he's possibly have been off more than he can chew. He realized that the other candidates are out debating him. Other candidates said that they wasn't in the race. They would go with another candidate. And if they would go with another candidate, that means you, as Anthony Buckner, they don't have confidence in you. Reggie Hubbard is the candidate that everybody say they would go with him. So if they would go with him, Reginald Hubbard, over Anthony Buckner, if Buckner was in that race, then Reginald Hubbard is your man. Well qualified, walked his way up through the ranks. But now what they're telling me about Reginald, uh, by Anthony Buckner, Reggie Hubbard should be your man. He should be the sheriff that would take this department to higher level. I remember the sheriff's department back in the day, it was well respected. They took care of business. Individuals were qualified to do the job. But now we have a situation where the sheriff, soon to be former sheriff, Floyd Bunner, getting his money and got his money from people who wanted something from the sheriff's department, like the other candidates that have been elected in the city. They owe the people something when they gave them all that money to get into office. You don't get that kind of money and don't expect people to be there with their hands out. They want you to do things one way or the other. And see, as politicians, true leaders would understand that you shouldn't be beholden to one entity or a group of people because they gave you money. You ran for office to be a leader, whether the individual didn't give you a pluck nickel. You're supposed to represent that person as well as you represent the people who gave you all that money. It's called having common sense to understand where you're supposed to be. But most politicians nowadays, and I say to you, don't be surprised if you hear some things, if some things come out, don't be surprised because we don't have the leaders that we supposed to have. The one who stood up on stage and told you they would do this and they would do that. But it come to find out they're no more than crooks that's in those positions. You have people that tell you that they did 10,000 expungements. You made them fill out their paperwork, but I don't think you did 100% of 10,000 expungements because there is rules about the expungement. There are certain things you have to have done and things you couldn't do. And you're going to tell me the 10,000 people that you, Heidi Kuhn, supposedly sent through the process, all 10,000 of them got diversion or got expungement? And I would tell you, you liar. You are a liar because I know the system. I know how the system works. I know that some people get the expungement done and a whole lot of them don't because of one way or one rule or another. They wasn't qualified to do it. But you run commercial about a system. I asked someone would they run for the criminal court who knew the criminal court. And they said this thing they call the criminal court is so messed up that no matter who gets it, and what I'm looking at, the people who are running for criminal court are not qualified to know how to go in there and grab it by the horns and start correcting the messed up system in criminal court that's in. Lawyers, Democrat and Republican lawyers, judges, who feel very uncomfortable knowing that they can't get things done under the administration of Heidi Kuhn. So what she done did, she messed it up so bad. Now she want to run and be your county mayor. If you look at how she messed up criminal court, what would she do if she became the county mayor? We have to stop letting other folks lie to us because we don't even ask the question. We'll go and sit and listen to what they say. But at the end of the day, what do you know about that person? If a person messed up in one position and then they want to go over to another position to keep getting a paycheck, but then they were messed up when the position that they had before they came over to the new position. And you have that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this to you and understand what I'm saying. They're not through with that audit. At 75%, I think it's going to be a storm, a hell of a storm coming through. And I predict that people in that administration, when they do that audit and they find what they call disturbing with this 1%, somebody going to jail. If the federal prosecutor, if the state prosecutors look in here and find what is wrong with this 75% as well, if funds have been stolen, misappropriated, some of it are going to jail. And I understand a lot of them are nervous right now as it relates to this audit. So they try to tell you, don't worry about it. One out of 25%, they only found 1%. I get sick of hearing that. Wrong is wrong, whether it's 1% or 25% or 100%. Just one incident out of 100%, which come down to be disturbing, as they said, and mishandling of funds, whether it's not record keeping or whatever. You fail as a group of people that's supposed to be serving the public, but you're serving yourself. If you took $1 in that forensic audit or misappropriated $1, you was wrong. But we know it's more than $1. It's going to be thousands of dollars. I predict that, in my opinion. And you're going to see some things and hear some things coming out of this forensic audit is just going to shock you to the core. It almost may get you to the point that you don't feel that any of these candidates are trustworthy. I had a conversation this morning with a lady by way of text, and she was talking about an organization and what this organization is going to do. If you look around Memphis, all the nonprofit organizations that's getting state money, getting federal money, and look at Memphis, hadn't changed. With all of these nonprofits and what they say they're going to do and how they're going to help the children, they're going to tutor their children. And the children, watch out now, when that basic skill test come up, that TCAP or whatever, let's see how much all of these nonprofits have been given your tax dollars to say that we're going to help the children. 1.8, almost $2 billion from the city side, the county side, they are giving your tax dollars and they can't balance your budget. See, common sense will dictate if you can't keep your budget within line, but you're giving away millions of dollars every year to keep that support. And I always say, when you get nonprofits 1.5 or 1.2 or 50,000 or 100,000, all that is the candidate buying support from those organizations. Now think about it. Think about it for a minute, if you will. If you had a nonprofit and they gave you 1.5 million to run your nonprofit, if they gave you 50,000 to help your nonprofit, they don't get any receipts from you and your nonprofit to tell you where the money goes. How are you going to keep those individuals honest when there's no record checking? See, every dime that you give away of our taxpayer dollars, that organization should have a report, like you have a fiscal year that you say, this is what we done, but nobody's doing that. If they are doing it, we hadn't heard about it. We don't know anything about it. And that's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. We have no way of keeping up with where our money is going and who it's going to. How much is it going to actually the work that they said is they're going to do, as opposed, it's always administrative costs. We're administrative. If you care for the children, you would have a job, and what you do for the nonprofit ought to be community service or whatever. But everybody is looking to be paid. Do you really think that a candidate is running to help you? Some are, but most of them are not. It's a job for some of them. It's an income for someone. And it's really not they're concerned about you. I want you to wake up because the 15th is coming, and it's coming fast. It'll be here before you know it. And you got to get in line. Some of you will and some of you won't. I can talk until I change color. Some of you still ain't gonna vote. But I'm here to tell you to vote because it's important. You sit around and you complain about this, that, and the other. They doing this, they not doing that. But what are you complaining about when you don't vote? You get the opinion they're going to do what they want to do anyhow. Well, if they do that and doing what they want to do, whose fault do you think it is? If you didn't vote, it's your fault. If you look up at the election, when it's all said and done, come May 5th, the primary start, early voting start on the 15th. That's next week. It starts on the 15th, run through the 30th. Then you didn't vote in the primary, but then somebody won that you really didn't like. Well, you can't say nothing. You can't talk about it because you didn't play your part. 600 some thousand people in this city. A lot of them are qualified to vote. Some of them can register. I hear people saying it all the time. When I was running for office, I would talk to young people. They say, "Oh, I'm not a voter. I'm not a voter." I said, "Why not?" "Well, I don't believe in it." "What do you mean you don't believe in it?" And you got a majority of people feel that way for whatever reason. And then you got a lot of them that can't vote. Why? Because with all those nonprofits that's supposed to be out here helping and teaching and telling the young people what to do and what not to do, and they doing it and they caught up in the system. You actually got so-called leaders, and I keep saying it, and I have debated with some of my friends in regard to that, getting marijuana to be legal. That would be the foolish mistake, and the repercussion behind that would be overwhelming. You think Memphis right now is a mess? What do you think if they legalize marijuana? Well, anybody can grow marijuana. What do you think this is? You think the crime rate right now is high? It's coming down with the help of the task force. But what would you think if Joe Blow and James Sally can go and till the land and grow marijuana and sit there smoking and watch TV? All through the house, you will smell marijuana on the front porch. You can smell it because it's legal. They'll be driving, smoking it like they smoking a cigarette, and they're driving it, ladies and gentlemen, if it was legal. So to me, anyone to say that need not be in any kind of position of authority at all. Because guess what? If you do a drug test on some of those, I guarantee you they may not pass. If you push that, tell them to take a drug test and see what happens. I tell you, we are in trouble if we don't do something about it. There's certain key races that I'm saying to you is going to be important, very important. The registered deed is one of them. We need to get Shalanda Ford back in there. She worked. And by the way, they got a, I'm not going to say misnomer, they got a lot circling around about Shalanda Ford. And they got this guy, Bobby Winbush. I've called him, tried to talk to him, one brother to the other, and try to tell him the lie that you pushing on your podcast by the individual that told you that. She lied to you. And see, when you're pushing a lie and you can't prove it one way or the other, you opening yourself up for a lawsuit. The brother didn't call me back. Then he's on his own. Keep pushing that lie. But in one day, you may get to knock on your door at 3 in the morning when them folks there to serve you some paper for the lie you told. And they recorded the lie you told. They got receipts on you because the person that told you that lie about Shalonda Ford is a lie. But I'm wiping my hands of it now. Just keep pushing the lie. And there may be some repercussions for the lie that you and that individual that I told you yesterday that's pushing. If you're gonna be into business, be truthful with the business. Everybody has an opinion. But see, a lie is not an opinion. It's a lie. And if somebody trying to tell you you're pushing a lie because they got the receipts on the lie that you're pushing, you need to listen. But what we need to do is realize that we are in a critical state of affairs as it relates to Memphis. The county mayor race is important as it relates to who you put in there. And see, I'm afraid of anybody who has raised $400,000 for the mayor seat. The one in the city, 1.5 million or more. I'm a little leery of those people who raise 200, 300, 400, $500,000 to become the next county mayor. That raised suspicion with me. I'm just telling you. And it should raise suspicion to you. Because in Memphis, Tennessee, they want to control this government as we know it. Because they buy certain individuals that they want to see in an elected position. You think about it. If they build a new jail, if we have a people in the sheriff's office or a person in the sheriff's office that are not strong enough to stand up, there's a whole lot of money going to be spent in the building of the jail, in the building of the hospital. You got to know what mayor will be in the office that's strong enough to deal with the contractor, the architects. All of those people are going to be paid, whether it's the jail or whether it's Regional 1, and they're already working over there on Union at the old commercial appeal bill. So it's important, as I tell you, it's important for you to understand that your vote is important, very important. And ladies and gentlemen, you got to step up to the plate. We're going to talk about some things that coming soon, and when it happens, don't be surprised. Because something may surprise you. But I say to you, don't lose your confidence. But then do your homework when this hit the fan. And it will be hitting the fan real soon. More information in regard to the forensic audit and other things that are coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for being late, and I apologize for this system with a flaw there for a few minutes, and I came on to you late. But I have concerns for you that you pay attention to these individuals that are running for these offices. Because the way the city is, and I saw some female talking this morning about, don't talk about the city of Memphis. People are making statements about the city of Memphis. And what we got is you got mad at LeBron James. Got mad at some of the other NBA players talking about they didn't want to come to Memphis. Why you get mad at them for telling the truth? Why you gonna get mad at somebody like myself and others who sit up and say Memphis is in the middle of chaos? Well, they're not lying. If they experience going to a hotel in Memphis and the sprinkler system just came on in a very nice hotel in Memphis. And they go back and say, hey, we played a game in Memphis and the hotel was hot. Why you gonna get mad if somebody repeat what is true? What actually happened in this city? What you should be mad at is getting rid of these no good politicians that's not doing anything to make sure that everything is nice for the visitors when they come to this hotel. So when you go to talking about, oh, they're talking about Memphis, hell, they need to talk about Memphis. If I go to New York City and I stay in a fine hotel and I get in there and find bed bugs in a hotel, I'm gonna say something about it. I'm gonna say I had an experience, and I know it wouldn't be, but I had an experience in New York City. I had an experience in California. And I tell my experience, I'm not lying, I'm telling the truth. That means that Memphis, Tennessee need to get their house in order. Because if you get that hurt, that you mad at somebody else talking about your city, as the leader, get mad at them and vote them out of office. You know, when I hear people talking about, oh, you shouldn't be talking about Memphis, don't tell me that. Because you're going to tick me off. Because I can tell you a whole lot of things that is wrong about Memphis. First of all, is your leadership. That's one thing you need to be mad about. Instead of talking about what people are saying about Memphis, Tennessee, and they saying the truth, you need to do a video that says Memphis is in this shit. That's what I do. Because I want Memphis to get better. And how do Memphis get better? We get better leadership. And then you won't have basketball players talking about how bad Memphis is. Not one. KD even said about it. Said he wouldn't stay in one hotel. He had to cross over and go to another hotel because this well-known hotel in Memphis was horrible. Those are his words. Those are his words. And I can just put statement after statement after statement of people saying how bad Memphis is. Yeah, they don't live in Memphis, but they came through Memphis and had a bad experience. Do you think if people come to this city and have a bad experience, they're going to say, oh, I enjoyed my time in Memphis? No, they're going to tell you how bad their time was in Memphis. So what you do, young lady, make a video telling the truth. And perhaps you may shame these devils that they would do the right thing and you wouldn't have to worry about people in Memphis talking about like me. You wouldn't have to worry about other people outside of Memphis. Okay? But I guarantee you one thing, this. The pride that they have in Elvis Presley's mansion, the hotel that's next to it, go in there. I bet you the water is hot. I bet you the air conditioning is cool. Because those people who are running that entity, the hotel and the mansion, I bet you it's top notch. So if they can run the Elvis Presley Hotel and it's top notch and you get nothing but good views from that experience, people are wanting to have parties, catering, weddings, and everything else. They want to have it because it's a good venue. And people talk about it. See, when you do good, people are going to talk good about you. Memphis is not doing good. And I will say to you, and I will continue to say, it's because of the leadership. You got an army or Marines, let me use that, because I'm partial to Marines. You got a Marine Corps law enforcement combined with Army, everybody else happy. But you can't stop the crime in the city of Memphis. You got an army called the MPD, the Shelby County Sheriff's Department, but you can't do it. What are you doing? You're not worried about it. Because if you're in leadership, you probably got somebody sitting outside watching your house while you sleep at night. You probably got 2 or 3 people walking with you, Paul, to make sure you're safe, but you're not doing anything to make sure that the people are safe. There's so many flaws in this community. It is ridiculous how unsafe we are in the community. When the snow was here, there was hardly any crime because that ice was on the ground. But soon as it got warm, 2 people, 3 people were shot and killed. It's getting back to that old thing that they saying they taking over Memphis and look like they are. But it was a different time, a different place when I was in law enforcement. You had crime, but you didn't have it like this. Why? Because you had the opportunity to have leaders in place to make sure that things were done right. I'm Jenny Bernard. You've been listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. As always, we ask you to subscribe to this program. Tell your friends to tell their friends about this program. Again, I apologize for being a little late, getting late started. But we'll be here tomorrow. We'll wind this week up and we'll go into the spring, the race to the voting booth, starting April 15th through the 30th and election day on May 5th. Look forward to it. But if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we're going to continue to have the chaos. You all be safe. You take care. But it's time for us to wake up from this chaos that we have and do something about it. It's important for you to vote. It's important for you to vote. Now, for those who didn't register, first of all, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And don't be crying for help when you could have helped yourself, but you didn't. It's your fault. If you didn't vote and you get in the tight, it's your fault. Because you didn't ask the people you put in office to do their job. And if they have really done their job, we wouldn't have to talk about how bad Memphis is, or how corrupt Memphis is, or how many thieves we got by way of an audit. And don't be surprised. Something that coming your way is going to shock you to the core. But don't be surprised. But remember what I always say. Trust everyone, but do not trust the devil inside. God bless you. Take care. And I'm going to try to fine tune this software here to make sure that we don't have the problem that we started off with today. God bless you. Take care of yourself. And we'll see you real soon. Have a great night.